Now our main course will be quail with vegetable. So that's what we'll do. I mean, quail, we can use the same recipe for pigeon. We can do Cornish hen, which is a small bird, would be almost the same idea. The season that we're going to use salt and pepper, and we'll use celery pepper, and we can use the celery roots as well. So this will be a different item. So it doesn't have to be this particular vegetable, but let's do what we have here with I'll cut the celery first, cut it into paillés cut, and I'll cut the same thing. I'll cut the pepper the same way. So I'm cutting with an angle. So this way the celery, it has always stringy texture. So therefore I'm cutting it into small. So I don't cut it julienne or longwise. I cut it paillés cut with an angle. So this way it won't be stringy, or it won't be hard for us to eat. So I'll do the same thing with the green pepper. It will be done with the same method. And I can keep always the top of the celery for soup or for stocks. I will get this green pepper. I'll just take off the seeds, or take off the inside, and then I'll mix this both together. I'll cut it julienne, then I can cut it into just thin size. Now this what gonna be for same way that I'm gonna cook this together in order for me to cook my quail in there as well. So I put the oil first, and then I added a little bit of butter, a little bit of oil so it doesn't burn, and then I'm putting my celery and pepper, and I had some pepper that I cooked from before, and I have a lot of pepper as you see. That's the idea here. I'm not going to get it fully cooked. I'll make it nice, crispy and crunchy. And then what I will have here, I will take the celery roots that we said we're going to cut it like julienne. It looks like a French fries, but it's not. And after that I will season that with salt and pepper, and then you can always add a little bit of broth or liquid. It depends on what it needs. But first let's put our seasoning, which is salt and pepper, and I'll have some cracked fresh black pepper. And that's the same thing with what I will do here after adding a little bit of salt here. This is not going to be wilted or sauce. I need it just to make it crisp. So after I have it just wilted a little bit, I'm gonna move it into the other pan where I'm gonna season the quail with salt and pepper as well. And I can do that a day before, or at least maybe a few hours before. And then on the same pan where I'm gonna cook this, I will put him into this. I'm gonna put the quail in there. So I'll put my vegetable first. I'll finish up cooking the vegetable there. So obviously I can start there if I wish. I just want to show you the mix and how much ingredients that I got there and how much pepper that I got. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some vegetable that we're not eating as much, and it's very interesting to try it in different way. Then I will have the quail that I open from the back, so it won't take as long, and I will have it just I will surround that. I'll put them on top of each other, and maybe I can flip it over. It will look nicer, and this will cover more of the vegetable, so this way it can keep the moist, or can keep the steam under, and that will cook the vegetable as well as the quails. Then the rest of the seasoning, where I have a little bit of thyme, I'm gonna sprinkle that on the top, and then I will have a little bit of sumac, which is a kind of it's a tarty flavor. It doesn't have a substitute. If I would like, I can put a little bit of chili powder, but it's not going to give you the flavor, it will give you the look, and maybe a little bit of lemon juice for the flavor. It's more of lemony or kind of acid. Now I'm gonna get a spaghetti squash, where it's gonna be my second vegetable or starch if I wish to use it as that for that reason. And all what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cook that into the oven. What I will do, I will just leave it as whole. I can have it cut and I sprinkle it with a little bit of thyme. I can put a little bit of honey in there, or I can boil it. But when I take it out of the oven after I put it for about 45 degrees, that's how it will look like. And then what I will do, I'll have garlic. I'll put a little bit of hot pepper. I'll put them in, I will pound that until get it nice and just chopped. And then I will have a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and a little bit of olive oil. Just be sure that I'm making a little bit mix to season this squash, this spaghetti squash. Then I'll bring this hot pan where I'm gonna put all this that I cooked in there, and be sure that I have a little bit more of oil in there, and that's what's gonna be my marinade. I'll just leave it like this, as you see, very hot oil, and just save it aside. And this is gonna be my flavor for the zucchini, or for the squash, which is the spaghetti squash. Now it's easy for me to open this squash, and as you see, it's easy to open. I will be sure you get rid of the seeds inside there, because it has a seed like a melon. And then I will take the rest of the, and I'll just bring the platter where I'm gonna serve it, and I will season it with the flavor oil that I see. It's the heat that's coming from the garlic and the oil. And then I will bring the quail, which is cooked with the green pepper, with all this vegetable that I have. Is ready to be served. It's a little bit different. It has a nice interesting combination. I use a lot of green pepper, I use spaghetti squash, and I can have just small platter where I can serve one serving, and I'll go take one of the quail with a little bit of I can put it just aside, so the whole thing, or I can move the spaghetti into the other platter. So what I can do here, I can take one platter, a small plate, where I can take some of my filling here. I'll take some of the spaghetti squash, and it looks exactly like spaghetti, and I'll fill up some of the cavity of this spaghetti, and I'll take some of this vegetable, put them in my individual plates, and I'll take some of the spaghetti squash, and that's how it will look like. You see, it looks nice, and I'll put it next to the vegetable. Then I will take one quail, which is I'll put on top of it, and a little bit of the juice, which came down from all this moist that I had since I covered it. It's very, very simple. It's very, very different. It's very delicious. So you can try it with the Cornish hen, as we said. You can try it with different type of poultry, or you can even cut chicken legs if it's large, and you can do the same idea. But the method here is to try to use different type of vegetable, different method of cooking it. I hope you'll try it. I hope you'll like it. I hope you send us your